On the hangar floor, there is a harsh operational reality. Human error is an absolute inevitability. Yet, catastrophic aircraft accidents are entirely preventable. In aviation maintenance, an error usually manifests as an unintended aircraft discrepancy, directly tied to the actions or inactions of a technician. This iceberg model illustrates Heinrich's law, mapping disasters to hidden hazards. In the red and green top tiers, for every single major accident, there are 29 minor injuries. Below the waterline, these are supported by 300 near misses and 3,000 invisible, undetected unsafe acts. The causal factors driving those 3,000 ignored daily events are exactly the same factors that trigger a catastrophic plane crash. If an organization can eliminate the unsafe acts occurring out of sight at the base, it becomes mathematically impossible for the major incidents at the top to occur. To effectively manage these errors, investigators must trace a failure backward through time. This diagram outlines an error timeline. On the left is an active failure, a technician falling from a broken ladder. This is the immediate error at the sharp end. These active failures are rarely spontaneous. They require an existing hazard to act as a trigger. Over on the right, we find the latent failure. 3 months earlier, a facility manager rejected a purchase order for a new ladder due to budget constraints. A rejected budget, a poorly written procedure, or a lack of tooling can sit dormant within an organization for years. This is the incubation period. An accident finally happens at the exact moment a dormant organizational condition combines with a local human trigger. Tracking down those invisible, latent failures during the incubation period is the only reliable way to stop the technician from falling. Labeling an event as human error provides zero diagnostic value. To prevent a recurrence, safety managers have to map precisely where the breakdown occurred. This block diagram represents the shell model, mapping how the central human technician, or liveware, interfaces with external elements. Notice how the liveware puzzle piece connects to the yellow software rules, the green hardware aircraft, and the purple environment workplace conditions. Notice the jagged edges where these puzzle pieces meet. Errors occur precisely at these interfaces due to friction. If a highly skilled technician misinterprets a badly formatted job part, the failure isn't inside the mechanic's brain. It is a flawed liveware to software interface. By viewing errors as interface mismatches rather than human imperfections, safety managers can redesign the tools and procedures to fit the human. Aviation maintenance tasks possess a unique mechanical vulnerability compared to other operational roles. Look at James Reason's aerospace component trace for a bolt with 8 nuts. Disassembly on the left is a single straight line. But reassembly on the right yields a massive, tangled web of over 40,000 incorrect paths. Scale that mathematical reality from one bolt up to the millions of components on a modern commercial airliner. The vast majority of maintenance errors predictably occur during the installation phase. These target boards differentiate how those errors group together. Target A shows variable errors, highly unpredictable, random deviations scattered across the board. Target B shows constant errors tightly grouped in a systematic pattern off-center. If multiple technicians consistently install a specific hydraulic valve backward, it is a constant error. Because it follows a predictable pattern, it can be isolated and permanently engineered out of the reassembly process. To successfully engineer out that error, analysts must step inside the mind of the technician at the exact moment the task failed. This classification tree provides a standardized error taxonomy. Unintentional actions, like slips or memory lapses, occur when the body deviates from a correct mental plan. Intentional actions, like mistakes or deliberate violations, happen when the physical act is perfect, but the underlying plan was flawed. Identifying whether a technician suffered a memory lapse or committed a deliberate violation dictates the exact management solution required to prevent it from happening again. Despite precise taxonomy and careful system design, the human mind will eventually lose focus. A mature safety culture assumes errors will happen and directs its resources toward making those errors reversible. This 3D visualization is James Reason's Swiss cheese model. It maps how an organization layers its systemic defenses against failure. Focus on the solid yellow areas. These slices represent defensive barriers, like management budgets, rigid quality control procedures, and mandatory duplicate inspections. Now track the red accident trajectory arrow. The holes in the cheese represent shifting latent weaknesses. An irreversible catastrophe strikes only when these holes perfectly align, opening a fatal window of opportunity that allows the hazard to pass straight through. The primary duty of an aviation maintenance organization is not to demand flawless human execution. It is to constantly patch the holes in its defensive layers before they ever align. Identifying those latent holes in an active hangar requires highly accurate operational data. Securing that data starts with dismantling the traditional approach to discipline, visualized here as a hammer breaking the toxic blame and train cycle. When management's first response to an incident is to punish the individual mechanic, critical safety data is forced underground. The latent hazards survive untouched, waiting to strike the next technician. Leading operators use the Maintenance Error Decision Aid, or MEDA, outlined in this 5-step workflow diagram, to trace root causes without assigning individual blame. Notice the central steps for investigation and prevention strategies. MEDA operates on the assumption of positive employee intent, the understanding that maintenance technicians want to do a perfect job and never intend to cause harm. An error management system still relies entirely on raw data. This interface represents CHIRP, an independent, confidential reporting system that acts as a vital safety net. CHIRP protects aviation professionals through a just culture. It shields technicians from disciplinary reprisal for reporting honest mistakes, carefully separating simple cognitive slips from reckless, willful violations. When mechanics feel secure enough to report the mundane near misses and daily frustrations, organizations gain the exact intelligence required to reinforce their defenses and neutralize the catastrophic accidents of tomorrow.